His father cleaned the floors of a prestigious school every day. Students laughed at him because of his father's job. Years later, those same people stood and applauded him. This is the story of the janitor's son. The janitor's son. Arman studied at one of the most prestigious schools in the city, but he was different from most of the other students. His father worked at the same school, not as a teacher, principal, or administrator, but as a janitor. Every morning before sunrise, he cleaned the hallways, emptied trash bins, and made sure the school was spotless before the students arrived. Long after everyone had gone home, he was still working. Arman often watched his father quietly doing his job while many people passed by without even noticing him. One day, a teacher asked the class, "Tell us what your father does for a living." One student proudly said his father was a doctor. Another said his father was a businessman. Others spoke about engineers, managers, and executives. Then it was Arman's turn. He stood up slowly and said, "My father is a janitor at this school." A few students began to laugh. Someone whispered, "The janitor's son." The classroom filled with quiet giggles. That day, Arman walked home with his head down. At dinner, he barely spoke. His father noticed immediately. After a moment of silence, he said, "Son, no job makes a person small. People become small through their character, not their work." Arman didn't reply, but those words stayed with him. From that day on, he stopped listening to what others said. Instead, he focused on his dreams. He studied harder than ever before. Many nights he stayed awake long after midnight. Sometimes he studied in the library. Sometimes he sat under streetlights because the electricity at home wasn't always reliable. The years passed. The struggles never disappeared, but neither did his determination. He kept moving forward, and then one day everything changed. Arman achieved one of the highest ranks in one of the country's most competitive examinations. His story was featured on national television. Reporters arrived at his home. During an interview, a journalist asked, "Who deserves the credit for your success?" Arman smiled. Then he looked at his father and answered, "The man who spent his life cleaning floors for others is the same man who cleared the path for my future." The room fell silent. His father's eyes filled with tears. A few months later, Arman received an invitation to return to his old school as the chief guest at a special ceremony. He stepped onto the stage and looked out at thousands of students sitting before him. In the front row sat his father, the same man, the same uniform, the same humble worker. But this time his head wasn't lowered. It was held high with pride. As Arman finished his speech, he walked down from the stage. In front of everyone, he bent down and touched his father's feet in respect. For a moment, the hall was completely silent. Then the entire audience rose to their feet and applauded. That day, everyone learned an important lesson. A person's identity is not defined by their job title. It is defined by their honesty, hard work, and love. And sometimes the person the world considers ordinary makes the most extraordinary sacrifices. So remember, never judge someone by their family, profession, or social status. Because the person you overlook today may become the story that inspires the world tomorrow.